Welcome back, adrenaline junkies. Today we're counting down the top 20 most insane high-speed police chases ever caught on Dashcam and Bodycam. Expect reckless suspects, close call crashes, and shocking endings you won't believe are real. Let's begin.
On December 27, 2021, the quiet flow of traffic along Interstate 75 in Bibb County was about to be shattered. A Georgia State Patrol trooper watched as a Ford Ranger came barreling through, clocking in at 90 miles per hour in a 70 zone. For a moment, it looked like the driver might comply, slowing down as the blue lights filled the night. But as every trooper knows, a brief hesitation doesn't always mean surrender.
Seven outside. 17 outside.
Inside the battered pickup was 33-year-old Joseph Silas, still strapped in his seatbelt and nursing pain in his arm. He admitted he had been drinking, confessing outright that he had really messed up. Rescue crews pulled him from the wreck, and a blood test confirmed his night of bad choices. He left the hospital with a list of injuries, citations, and a charge of driving under the influence. A harsh reminder that one reckless decision can flip your life upside down faster than your truck rolling down an embankment. On December 21, 2023, a black Infiniti G37 blasted down Interstate 20 at 102 miles per hour, the kind of speed that makes even radar guns flinch. The driver wasn't just late for something, he was running from everything. When the Georgia State Patrol tried to pull him over, he stomped harder on the gas, setting off a pursuit that would hit 145 miles per hour before it came crashing back to reality.
Hit on the ramp. Clear, hit on the ramp.
Trooper Matthews' textbook pit maneuver brought the chase to a clean, decisive stop. The driver, Charles Hopkins, reeked of alcohol and had all the telltale signs of a night gone wrong. But the shock didn't end there. He also had an active warrant for sex crimes. Hopkins was handed over to College Park authorities, facing both his past and his newest set of charges, proving that speed might hide you for a moment, but it never saves you in the end. July 21, 2022, alarms rang out across Citrus County, Florida. A man armed with a rifle had just robbed a bank, and the GPS tracker planted in his bag was pulsing a clear trail toward the coast. When troopers Eric Kiekstad and Frank Malillo joined the chase, they knew this wasn't going to be a normal traffic stop. The suspect, Jeremy Wade Greeno, had already shown he was willing to use deadly force, and he wasn't done running yet.
The whole
The pursuit ended near a crowded RV park, where the armed suspect's final stand forced troopers to act instantly to protect innocent lives. After the gunfire stopped, troopers rendered aid before medics rushed Greeno to the hospital. He was later booked into the Citrus County Jail and charged with armed robbery assault on a law enforcement officer, and fleeing and eluding, plus outstanding federal warrants. Our troopers' bravery that day earned them FHP's Troopers of the Month. November 10, 2022, what began as a search for a missing woman quickly turned into a full-blown manhunt across Newton County, Georgia. A suspicious Honda Accord linked to the investigation of a missing person bolted from a wooded area where detectives were gathering evidence. Within minutes, the chase was on and the Georgia State Patrol was called to take control before it spiraled out of hand.
Covered, if they'll back off, we'll let this trooper pit him. They got to get off of his bumper, though.
When the dust finally settled, the driver, identified as Jesse Hardiman, was taken into custody after crashing into a subdivision sign. Inside the car were loaded firearms, stolen tags, and evidence possibly tied to other burglaries. In the end, he faced multiple firearm charges, theft by receiving, and felony fleeing. What began as a missing person investigation ended with a sobering reminder that every clue can lead to something far bigger than expected. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon on June 27, 2023, when the hum of high...
Yeah, just north of 73, go down to Green Roadway.
When the adrenaline faded, the driver, later identified as Casey Register, was sitting in custody facing an armful of charges from felony fleeing to drug possession. A bottle of suspected THC cannabis oil and a vapor pipe sat as silent witnesses in the evidence pile. He might have tried to turn Interstate 530 into his personal stage, but the final curtain dropped hard and with an audience in uniform. June 29, 2023, deputies in Charles County, Maryland were dispatched to a parking lot on Acton Lane in Waldorf. Witnesses reported a man attacking a woman in what appeared to be a carjacking attempt. What began as violence in a quiet corner of town quickly spilled onto the roadway, sparking a pursuit that would push both the suspect and deputies to their absolute limits.
102, number 2 lane, 0 traffic. I'm direct, still southbound 205, southbound 205, someone trying to get 6 at 5 205. Number 2 lane, speed 116. No traffic. 759, number 1 lane, 1050, 1050, 1050, 1050. The accident, 1050.
The fleeing vehicle veered into opposing lanes and slammed into a tractor trailer with devastating impact. The suspect was killed instantly, his desperate gamble ending in wreckage and smoke. For deputies, the scene stood as a harsh reminder that crime does not stay contained. It can leap from a single parking lot to the open highway, leaving nothing but devastation in its path. It was just past 9 p.m. on June 9, 2023, when Cadet A. Benjamin and his training officer spotted something off. A gray Ford Escape wasn't just speeding, it was swerving like the driver had one hand on the wheel and zero interest in the rules. A quick radar check confirmed it was clocking nearly 20 miles over the posted limit. The patrol car flipped around and lit up, but that was all the invitation the driver needed to bolt into the night.
Augusta Avenue. Taking Augusta Avenue. All right, this is the intersection. Just remember, we don't...
After nearly overshooting a turn and flying off the road, the suspect somehow muscled the vehicle back onto the street. But the escape plan didn't account for what was coming next.
Get up there. Oh, all right. Go, 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 go. You got it. Stop. Oh, don't hit the curb. Hit him, hit him, hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Try and hit him before he gets back to the interstate. Right here. Hit him. Hit him. Easy. Get out. Get out. Wait, there's a car right behind us. Bring it. Overturn. 1050. 1050. Stop. See us! Put your hands out the window! Put your hands out the window now!
After flipping across lanes and slamming into a guardrail, Yolanda Irvine, the driver, was pulled from the wreck with alcohol on her breath and drama on standby. At the hospital, she lied about being pregnant, refused to cooperate, and treated the floor like a stage for her meltdown. But none of it changed the outcome. Her night ended the way it always would, and handcuffs headed for jail. On March 8, 2025, Clayton County deputies were watching the steady flow of traffic on I-675 South when something broke the rhythm. A white Dodge Challenger blasted past their radar at 137 miles per hour, a speed that turned the freeway into a racetrack. And right behind it, more cars followed street racers who seemed determined to push their luck. Among them was a blue Ford Mustang driven by a man who had no idea his wild ride was about to spiral out of control. The driver was identified as Nathan Lewis, and what deputies found next raised eyebrows even higher: a loaded 9mm pistol sitting in the console. Lewis now faces felony, fleeing, reckless driving, racing, aggressive driving, and a laundry list of other charges. It is a sobering reminder: the faster you run from the law, the quicker the road runs out. On April 12, 2025, a Pine Bluff officer pulled over a driver for what should have been a simple stop. The air was calm, the streets quiet, until the driver hit the gas and tore off down 2nd Avenue. In a matter of seconds, that calm afternoon turned into a full-speed pursuit through city blocks and railroad crossings.
We got 643 is 4. Oh, that's one blood show. 1036. I'm also going to be going on Barricue. Westbound Barricue to Falkers. It's going to be a white Dodge Charger. Each one is primary, I'm secondary. Let Pine Bluff know we got their car. Speed is approximately 75 close to Hudson. TBI. 1016. Start us at 1016.
Our ASP trooper ended the chaos with a clean pit maneuver that sent the suspect into a tree. Officers discovered guns and drugs inside the wrecked vehicle, adding serious weight to the suspect's charges. The Pine Bluff officer who crashed during the chase escaped with minor injuries, but the suspect's freedom didn't. Felony, fleeing, and possession of narcotics topped the list of charges, proof that running never works out the way they think it will. Afternoon on December 26, 2023, a red sedan fled a routine traffic stop at 10 Mile and Ryan Roads in Warren, Michigan. Dashcam video captured officers weaving through city streets as the driver ignored light signs and every signal to stop. The pursuit wound through neighborhoods, yards, and intersections before ending in tragedy.
Whoa. Okay. All right. What I gotta have you do is just hop out for me real quick, man, just because you don't have your license on you, okay? Nope.
Oh, 1050 into a box truck. He's underneath the box truck. Airbags deployed. Let's shut this intersection down.
In the end, the driver ran a red light and struck both a Ford F-150 and a Penske truck. The driver, the sole occupant, was pronounced dead at the scene. No other injuries were reported, though firefighters found a handgun on the floorboard. The case remains under investigation with potential charges listed as fleeing and eluding, reckless operation. On the evening of August 7, 2021, the quiet streets of Tallahassee were interrupted by a white Toyota Corolla that refused to stop. This wasn't just a speeding driver. This was a stolen vehicle connected to an armed robbery earlier that same day. As Florida Highway Patrol units joined the pursuit, the driver, later confirmed to be a juvenile, pushed the car to dangerous speeds through city traffic.
Bail out.
Traffic is white. We're about, looks about 80 miles an hour. Good hit. We did it. Signal 4. After vehicles been put on Conner Boulevard. Vehicles been put on Conner Boulevard. Signal 4.
The high-risk chase ended with the teen safely taken into custody. Investigators later confirmed the vehicle was indeed linked to the armed robbery case that started it all. The young driver now faces charges including fleeing to elude, grand theft auto, and more. It's a stark reminder that one impulsive decision behind the wheel can change a life forever. On April 15, 2025, Atlanta traffic moved as usual down Memorial Drive, except one car stood out. A gray Nissan Altima carrying a man accused of murder just hours earlier was weaving through the lanes. Troopers from the Georgia State Patrol's Criminal Suppression Unit closed in, fast knowing that hesitation could mean another tragedy. They had one clear goal: stop this suspect before the chase ever got the chance to spiral out of control.
You got it. Yeah, we got it right here, dude. Yeah, right here. Hang on. Shit. Get it. I got it.
A swift, calculated pit maneuver brought the Nissan to a violent spin in the intersection, ending the threat within seconds. The driver, later identified as Antonio Watson, was taken into custody, along with passenger Byron Thomas, both wanted men. Detectives quickly secured the vehicle for evidence as troopers handled the aftermath of the dual crash. Thanks to fast coordination and decisive action, what could have been another deadly pursuit ended before the suspect could even try to run. You'd think after that one, people would stop trying to outrun the law, but they never do. The next chase we've got lined up will make this one look almost calm in comparison. It's a reminder that high speed and bad judgment never mix well. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to subscribe to keep up with every pursuit. Trooper Matthew Price had seen plenty behind the wheel of his Arkansas State Police cruiser, but on September 14th, 2023, he was about to meet a driver who made a very poor introduction. The man behind the wheel of a black rental Silverado had every chance to pull over like a sensible human being. Instead, he chose to gamble, and the stakes shot up the moment his foot buried the accelerator. It was a choice that would turn a calm evening into a test of skill, patience, and horsepower.
Speed 62. I need a charger up here. This guy's got too much takeoff and get-go. Come on, 21. Keep your speed up. All right, we're coming up to the Little Mulberry. Speed's still 100.
Yeah, Little Mulberry, speed 100.
We got to get him in the, right here, 21.
Truck up here.
Speed's 100. We're passing Little Mulberry.
Temple, speed 100 past Little Mulberry.
Okay, roll over. Or correction, you got him pitted out. Pitted out.
Temple, put it out, Little Mulberry.
Get your hands up! Get your fucking hands up!
When the pursuit finally ended, the truck was boxed in by multiple cruisers. The driver, claiming to be Robert Regal, stepped out alongside his passenger, identified as Shaffer Smith, and a pregnant woman seated in the back. Troopers suspected the driver had lied about his name, while the woman insisted she had only just met the pair in Dallas. She also admitted to having marijuana on her. All told, it was a high-speed detour that left them headed not to their destination, but to a holding cell. May 18th of 2025 brought a tense situation to Pierce County, Washington. A Thurston County deputy attempted to stop an SUV that had blown through a stop sign, but the driver refused to pull over. The pursuit crossed county lines, and along the way, the suspect sideswiped a van and picked up debris from the roadside before heading into Tacoma's city limits.
We may be taking Thorn Lane. Disregard. Continuing northbound. 39 TA. He just struck a white work van, going to be pulling over, and the subject is still fleeing, approaching 124. And I've got Lakewood with me. Continuing back on northbound. Gonna be westbound 512.
Westbound 512, receive.
Pit.
Radio copy the pit.
Ability
Deputies eventually ended the chase and detained the driver, a convicted felon with a suspended license and an active warrant. The suspect was booked on a long list of charges, including attempting to elude hit and run and possession of drug paraphernalia, closing the chapter on a crime spree that stretched across multiple jurisdictions. On August 6, 2022, deputies in Forsyth County, Georgia received a BOLO alert for 4 women who had shoplifted from a Dawson County outlet mall. When a silver Ford Focus matching the description was spotted on GA 400, deputies attempted a stop, but the driver had other plans.
If you'll let them know Dawson, have them stop. We're southbound just before 13, occupied times 4. Let Dawson know I have them stop. We're southbound just before 13, occupied 4 times. Driver, get out of the car. You ready there? Taking off on me on southbound. Native pit, we're southbound.
Put your hands up! Put your hands up!
They're reaching on the clear car.
Pit, starting with some more units. They're compliant right now. Yeah, I got them. Driver! Step out! Keep your hands up!
After a short pursuit, the car was disabled with a precision PIT maneuver, and all 4 women were arrested. Investigators uncovered fake currency and confirmed one suspect had an active warrant for vehicle hijacking. Charges ranged from reckless driving to forgery, and the shoplifting cruise day of fast cash ended just as fast as it began. September 15, 2022 was not just another afternoon on Arkansas highways. A man behind the wheel of a dark pickup had allegedly been making disturbing online threats aimed at law enforcement, the governor, and even others in his path. When word of those threats reached the Arkansas State Police, the mission shifted from routine patrol to a high-stakes pursuit. For Trooper Joseph Killian, it was about to become a test of nerves and precision on open pavement.
It's Route 40. Can you get a chance to get back to traffic? We're outside 156, 107. That's 156, 107.
Copy hit. 56, 107.
Pit.
The suspect's wild run ended with handcuffs in the grass and a wrecked truck perched on a slope. Charges stacked high, from resisting and fleeing to reckless driving, terroristic threats, and property offenses. For a man who thought he could back up online threats with horsepower, the final result was sobering, outmaneuvered by Arkansas State Police, and facing years of legal fallout. On July 10, 2025, late in the morning, Florida Highway Patrol was running speed enforcement on State Road 408 in Orange County. Among the flow of cars, one stood out, a gray Mercedes GLC flying down the highway well above the posted limit. Its windows were tinted dark, and its presence practically begged for attention. Troopers moved in to initiate a stop, but what seemed routine was about to flip into something very different.
Traffic over, pursuit in progress.
Hold on, Mario. Don't let me stop.
Signal 4 at Mino.
Keep going. All right, get ready for phone call.
54 pointed if you can.
Hold on, Mario. Hold on. Don't let me stop.
54 pointed if you can.
Hold on, Mario. Hold on.
The driver was identified as Darius Demetrius Lowe, a man already on inmate release for a prior fleeing incident. His escape attempt ended with troopers placing him in custody, recovering fentanyl pills, nearly $4,000 in cash, and baggies of leafy substance from his car. The charges piled up fast: fleeing and eluding, narcotics possession, and more. Lowe's choices that morning turned a traffic stop into a crash course in why Florida troopers never back down. In the early morning hours of February 26, 2025, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper clocked a speeding Infiniti sedan racing down the highway. When lights and sirens came on, the driver pressed harder on the gas instead of slowing down. Afterward, the driver confessed to consuming alcohol before driving and was arrested without further resistance. He was charged with driving while intoxicated, reckless driving, and fleeing to elude. On October 14, 2021, a radio alert cut through the afternoon air in Atlanta. A murder suspect was on the move driving the victim's own car. The black Nissan Altima had just been spotted near Metropolitan Parkway, and officers knew this wasn't just another traffic stop. As troopers closed in, the young suspect behind the wheel showed no signs of slowing down, and what started as a routine lookout spiraled into a high-stakes pursuit through city streets. When the Nissan finally came to a stop, the driver, just 17 years old, identified as Nigel Andrews, bolted from the wreckage, trying one last time to escape justice on foot. But the chase ended as quickly as it began, with a taser bringing him down before he could disappear into traffic. After a brief check by medics, Andrews was handed over to Atlanta homicide detectives to face the murder charge that started it all. A grim reminder that no amount of running can undo the choices that led to that first tragic crime. For Florida Highway Patrol, September 18th, 2024 in Charlotte County started like any other sunny afternoon on Interstate 75, but all eyes shifted to a black Ford SUV whose driver clearly had no intention of obeying the rules. What started as a watchful eye in the mirror turned into the opening chapter of a pursuit that threatened every driver nearby. With adrenaline rising, the chase was on.
Traffic conditions. In the piece of bridge. Speed clear, 6.
By the end of the ordeal, troopers had the female driver on the ground and in custody. Her list of charges read like a rap sheet straight out of a courtroom drama: multiple felonies for drugs and warrants, probation violations, reckless driving, and more. It was a reminder that no matter how daring the run, every road eventually leads to accountability. A quiet afternoon in Hahira, Georgia turned chaotic on November 6, 2021, when deputies spotted a silver Suzuki Hayabusa speeding down Shiloh Road. The rider, later identified as 32-year-old Uriah Wade Hall, ignored flashing lights and made a taunting hand gesture before accelerating onto Interstate 75. Within seconds, a simple stop escalated into a pursuit at speeds beyond 145 miles per hour.
He's coming up behind me, about Oscar. It's gonna be a crotch rocket. We're passing the 12. I'm the second unit.
Sitting up on the six, trying to lock you. He just hit 432's call. Y'all drive, I'll call it. Y'all drive, I'll call it. 2-4, 3-4. 2-4, 3-4, clear hit 432, call it 6 mile marker. Mile marker. No.
Once troopers brought him under control, Hall was found carrying a loaded handgun, nearly 830 grams of methamphetamine, heroin, digital scales, and more than $1,600 in cash. As a convicted felon, his possession of a firearm added to a long list of charges, including trafficking methamphetamine, possession of a firearm by a felon, and fleeing from law enforcement.